Remember, please hit like and subscribe for me. Thank you so much. Okay, let's go. Hi, everyone. Today's Wednesday, July the 30th. My name is Anne Marie Band, and this is the Moneyball Morning Report for the Benzinga Pro platform. We're looking at TrendSpider as normal today. You're going to see a few different annotations. TrendSpider uses machine learning to look at charts directly inside of all the price action data in the markets, and I have been studying it like mad. They don't have these strategies available for John Q. Public yet, but I am fortunate to be in the space, so sharing a little bit with you. Let's take a look, however, at the opening range formation. Here's what the machine learning model has said. We've got a major resistance zone at 64.40, and distribution began. A lot of contracts began to sell off at this time, institutional selling, and so it gave us more of this press into this base case area where we've got 63.95. You know, I like that zone as a buy point. Value area low today is 6,392. Our opening range formation is showing a high of 6,409 and a low of 6,403. We have an area that is pretty much sideways. It's suggesting that if we have more than 100,000 contracts traded at or above this 6,420 level, it is going to be a buy zone that will send us into resistance. I'll be watching for that. That's what these little volume bars down here are telling me. At this point, it's in a low volume rally, so it's very likely to pull back into the top of our opening range and potentially into our volume point of control, which is 64.06. We do know that today is a Fed day. We want to be kind of careful about that. And so let's pay attention to that, and we'll see what happens. All right. To me, deep dips are still buys, but you can obviously see we had some sort of reversal back into heavy congestion. So the question is going to be, will we hold heavy congestion support? Will we break it and then recapture? Or will we simply stay in this very noisy patch until something else breaks? Okay, so the high volume sell-off area was 64.14. We just came into that zone. It told us there was low volume at that area, suggesting a short. I have to tell you, I've been mesmerized looking at this thing since about 5 a.m. I can't wait till they unveil this. This is absolutely astounding, and I've already made $5,000 this morning just following these rotations. So superb. That being said, we'll see what happens, and nothing's always right all the time, so we have to see how it gets in little wonky spots, but that's what we're staring down. I don't have any other data for the NQ. I do have it for gold because I'm staring that down. Let's just take a look at our regular NQ charts. What we can see is our opening range is a high of 23,474, a low of 23,449. We did break into the opening range formation of both yesterday and the day before. That means we are essentially all agreeing that price belongs in this area. So, what does our trend tell us? Dips or buys? What does this tell us from looking at the chart? We can see we are really trying to hold this gap area. 23,443 potential support. Remember, the dips are buys, but we are sitting in the middle of value area high and value area low. This tells us that the best bet for buying pressure will be the pullback into this value area low that recovers, okay? And so for me, I like the thought of positioning along somewhere around 23,340. It might not give that to us. It might only come in to 23,420. And we have increased volatility, but we're moving into the Fed release. And so far, price compression has been the order of the week. We are still in the initial range formation that we made on Monday. And so that tells us the spikes are sells and the dips are buys. Okay? And so let's look for that, realizing that we can have an extension move to the north very quickly. We'll see what happens. Dips certainly are. Isn't this interesting? It broke this trend line and connected with the one below. So we'll leave those two trend lines alone, see how they move from day to day. This is because this is all low volume spiking. It is going to come back down into the relative areas of accumulation. You can see that by these big orange candlesticks. All right, let's take a look at the YM. First of all, let's collapse this. And then let's go to the YM. All right, what are we seeing? Big break. Let's see if we can find a rotation here, right? We had really solid accumulation here, but this is the price action event that needs to hold. Interestingly, the low of the opening range identifies that for us. That number is 44,758. Okay, we are at the base of value area low. Because we're coming from above, it should try and recover. So my thought is if we can get up and over 44,874, we should have buying pressure into the volume point of control and potentially into the heavy congestion areas that we are seeing that are building. If not, if this big pocket of volume fails to provide support, our next step down is 44,706. And then the step down after that is the high of the opening range here, which is 44,611. Interesting. All right. Let's see if we can make another trend line that might pull these guys in. You guys know I hate these trend lines, but some of us are really all about it. So let's see. Yeah. So we test here, we break and recover here, big volume pocket here. This is essentially do or die for the YM. Notice high, another lower high. Low, lower low, another lower low. This is the first rotation here to the upside. This actually could be another flag pattern that brings us down, or it could be a bounce event that sends us to the top of value area high. Very messy, but clearly our volume accumulation area needs to hold as support, or they're going to move out of the way and send us into the lower patches. Where might that be? Down here, right? This area way up here, you can see this movement of all of this high volume ended up being a support structure all the way over here. So it's really important that we watch this volume area by price to make sure that it holds as support or resistance. And if you do have the TrendSpider app, it's typical volume by time of day. All right. Great guys over there. And they're a huge fan of MP. So all good. Here we go. Let's take a look at micro Bitcoin. This one's pretty interesting. It's messy, right? Look at how messy this is. Could you be more messy than this? But notice, see this volume accumulation right here? I think we go back and test there. If this is an accurate representation, we get ourselves a price action event that really could send us to the bottom of the box. So, what's the storyboard? Well, we're caught inside of value, right? Value area low, 117,700. Value area high, 119,683. Opening range formation, high 118,730, low 118,250. It's bouncing off the value area low. We have a little spike of volume here, but not really massive. Again, see this edge here? We have to hold this edge. So what does this mean? I think it's a great buy zone at 117,700, right near that low. Now, could price rush in and just keep riding higher? You betcha, right? But if it comes down here, the first folks to defend the line are going to be the ones that packed all of that volume into the price action event. Could we flush and then bounce? Yes, but my thought is we fade right into 117,700. We try to bounce, and then we'll see what happens from there, right? My thought is if it holds, great. We head back up. Nice trade, $3,000. If we fail, we've got $1,700 to the downside, potentially. Yeah, very interesting. Absolutely fantastic. Really, I have to tell you, I've been trading a very long time. I mean, not as long as some of the people who've been around for 40 years, but I've been trading a very long time, and I have to tell you, my superpower is my raw desire to learn. Absolutely, it is. My raw desire to learn. I would never discover these sorts of things without doing that. All right, so super interesting. Let's take a look at oil. Yesterday, the administration, particularly our president, came out and said, you know what, Putin, we see that you don't really care about listening to us, and so storyboard is the following. You've got X many days. I don't know how long it is, maybe 10 days, whatever it is. I mean, these sanctions for Russia have never worked, right? The flows for Russia have always been whatever they've been. They've just, whatever. But the rhetoric sent oil going like a mad beast. So I could see JD's face when I was on Lunchbox Trading. I said, you know what? I'm going to take a short at 68.20. Deanna said, I don't know, kind of a trend day. Kind of happens on Tuesday. Things tend to expand out. And she was right on the money. I took a short at 620. John and JD had a long from way down here up into this area. And then it exploded higher. I saw JD's face. I could tell he was like, daggone it. But it is what it is, right? You're going to leave some money on the table. I got stopped out. Luckily, I got right back in the game and collected quite a bit of that back from trading the ES, but neither here nor there. The key event is when a trade goes badly, do not let it rock your self-confidence. Go to the position, see what your setup was, see what changed that setup, and if you had to do it all over again, what would you do differently? Those are the ways that you face a disruption, right? Do not let it deflate you. Don't let it deflate you. All right. Opening range formation. Very tight. Very tight. Come on, Sally. Let's see. See if we can get this right. Drawing tools drive me crazy. Okay, so opening range, very tight. You can see this price action one time framing up. Every day, breaking higher, breaking higher. Now, the question is, what's next? And so we have to go back to the daily chart and see what's going on. So, Sidekick, the machine learning event here, shows that this current area is major resistance. I don't have the deep analysis done on this one. But what we do want to see is the following. What is volume going to look like as we move upward in price if we break to the north? Look at the size of this stinking candlestick, right? Let me make sure that volume is sitting in the chart. Volume by time of day does not show up. Right? So huge volume event. And here are the traders back inside. I think we need to draw Fibonacci here. Of course, I'm going to be doing some more analysis. I feel like I'm a kid in a candy store. I'm not going to lie. It's absolutely incredible. Okay, so 72.50. Value area high on the daily chart is 73.60. Value area low is 65. Now, here's the problem. The administration does not want to see oil continue this climb. They don't. So we'll see what has to happen, but here's what we're looking at. Early morning volume accumulation, right? Not like the regular trading day, and we can see that between 1 and 3 o'clock, 1 and 2 o'clock, excuse me, yesterday, this is when the noise came. And then all night, we've been in this zone. So the question is the following. What gives? We've broken above the opening range. We've broken below the opening range. Here's the thing. If we move above 69.80, price action is very likely to head into 71. If we lose this area below at 68.50, it's showing relative support. At this time, if we lose this area, we're going to come down into key support areas near 67. 66.50 is the area I want to buy, but I don't know if it's going to come back to that zone. Might I try to take a trade here? Yes, I might. But again, all of this volume in these two pockets, these 2 hours, really, the traders could move anywhere around here, and that puts that line at 67.70. So that actually might be the really nice place to do this trade, right? Yeah. Opening range high, $69.38. Opening range low, $69.18. A 20-cent move. And look at how long it consolidates. They try to get out, and sellers just jam it down their throats. This is going to be a very important breach point, because if it moves there, we could have ourselves a pretty ugly megaphone today. My suspicion is we do the very same thing and we sell off right back into the range. Okay, so ultimately, I'm looking for a short, but we'll see. We'll see what happens right there. Market is going to be very choppy into the opening range formations, simply because it's an FOMC day. It's probably going to be a nothing burger. Today's going to be very tough overall. I do believe we are in range formations. Now, here's the trouble. For some odd reason, gold is not plotting any contract that is important here, right? Our price action is 33.80 something, I think, something like that, right? Let me see what the GC is on my other platform. Yeah, 33.85. It is giving us some kind of bounce zone. And so I want you to pay attention to the rhythm of what the chart is saying and not the price per se. Okay? I know that's kind of a pain in the tuchus, but I know. Who thought you might have a Yiddish word today? All right, so here we go. Price action is an accumulation, right? Big volume downward, and then the rotation upward. All of this is major support into 3,300, especially in this particular contract. It's, I think, 33.10, 33.15 is absolutely huge. We could see it yesterday. Just look for these formations in your gold chart, wherever you're trading it, Top Step X, whatever platform. And notice that what's happening now is accumulation. Okay, accumulation can go to the top of the value area high, 3,365. Of course, relatively speaking, that's going to be some other number, but use your platform to show you where the big ranges are sitting. And then if you're able to trade this chart plotting this dollar amount, then I think you're fine. But just be careful. Okay? Accumulation here tells us a breakout is possible. A lot of Asia market buying has been occurring. Asia markets actually sold into deep support. Big Asia market move early in the day, starting this, and then it got accelerated into our early morning, and there goes Asia buying again. And look at how much volume we have here. This is going to be a shelf of some kind. Absolutely going to be a shelf of some kind. Super important for us to consider. If it breaks the low that you see, it'll come into the next zone. All right? Hopefully tomorrow, Transpider will reset and it'll have the right contract. Right now, I'm not getting the readings, but just use the image to tell you what's going on. All right, let's take a look at SPY finally. I feel like I've been talking for 3 hours. So what's SPY doing? Same thing as the ES, right? We've got this ledge and then all of this upside motion that's immediately reversed. They try it again. That's a topping formation, right? Pull back into frontline support. A lot of selling here at the 11 o'clock candlestick. And so if we cannot get up over 636, chances are we're going to go into the low of the opening range candlestick of Friday. Okay, that's the baseline. That's where we hit the low yesterday and got even into Thursday's opening candlestick formation. All right, so buying pressure should hold support here, but the dip down could give us the nice buy zone. The low vol, the implied vol for Thursday is right near the value area low. So big spikes, I think, are probably going to be sell zones. You can see them trying to build a volume shelf right here, right? Low volume node, high volume node, chatter, 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 chatter. The breakdown should give us the bounce back into the rotation. All right. Opening range for SPY, high $636.16, low $635.57. All right, everybody. Have a good trading day. I'll see you guys on the Benzinga pre-market prep at midday. It's going to be fun. We'll do some exciting things. I'll talk to you soon, and I'll see you on the streams.